We've made it, gentlemen. Finally, it's draft week here. PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined as always, partner in crime, Mr. Bo Brock. Pride of Northwestern, former Arizona Cardinal running back Damien Anderson joins us. Gentlemen, we are stoked. Less than 3 days away right now from the start, first of all, of our party at the Ainsworth, but most importantly, the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. It's draft week.
Let's go. We've got a massive party on tap. Right now, there's like a Snoop Dogg green room amount of smoke screens going on. Like, you can't decipher fact from fiction. Is Trayvon Walker going number one? Is Aiden Hutchinson going number one? Who's going number one in this draft? We have to figure out 23.
It's that time of year, Bo. It's that time of year. I mean, I apologize if I get distracted. I keep going back to the Go PHNX app. You know what I mean? And looking for you guys.
Smart. I like it.
And reading the articles that, Bo Bach and Johnny Vulnerable, that you got, the insightful reads that you guys have. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. So go check it out, guys.
Is that Johnny Vulnerable? I feel like that's going to be him, actually. That's his nickname at 23. That's what I'm going to call
him. Vulnerable for venerable, maybe. I'm vulnerable for pick 23 here because, listen, in years prior, it's been easy or easier to talk about projecting for the Arizona Cardinals and what the pick could be. Hell, like 2 years ago when it was the Isaiah Simmons brigade, I mean, Simmons was in the mix with about maybe 2 or 3 other guys. We had a good idea. A lot has to go right and potentially wrong for the Arizona Cardinals ahead of pick 23. But I think it's safe to say, like, we're hearing through the Twitterverse, through some insight, through DMs, private messages, like it's the same group of guys, right? And so I thought for this first part of the show, let's talk a little bit about predicting the Cardinals' big board as it relates to trends, as it relates to things that Keim and company have done in the past, because good hell, Bo, we know this man has a type. And then I'll give you kind of my 5 names that I'm hearing are strongly associated with this franchise. But Bo, give me a sense of, like, where's this team going at pick 23?
Well, we heard it during their pre-draft press conference last week. They've got a couple needs that they outlined, and it was edge, number 1, and number 2 was wide receiver, and then number 3 was cornerback, which is kind of the wild card of all of this. We know the top 2 guys. They were there. Derek Stingley Jr.'s the LSU Pro Day. He's in the mix for the number 1 corner off the board. And then you've got Sauce Gardner, a great name, Ahmed Sauce Gardner, who never gave up a TD in his entire Cincinnati Bearcats career, which is exactly. I mean, are they going to aggressively move up for those guys? Probably not. But we know what the needs are, and the guys aren't even as far as Steve Keim, the brain trust, they're not even smoke screening that at this point. Like, we know what they're going to be looking for at 23. Wide receiver is a stacked position in the first round, but it looks like there's going to be a run on them before 23 as well. So who's going to be left? That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to hear are we doing top 5 guys as far as you're concerned?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll jump right into it. You want me to jump right into it? Yeah. These are the 5 names I'm hearing are most associated with this franchise. I'm going to call them the Big 5. I'm going to set these guys in. I'm not going to change them. This is not ranked by any means. This is more ranked on.
Sure, Johnny? You sure?
Yeah. This is prospect ranking, like consensus prospect ranking. But these are the 5 names that I've heard most associated with this organization through, little minions, people chirping in my ear. If you want a source, here's the source. I still very much feel like they're infatuated with Jameson Williams. And hell, you're on Twitter, social media today. He might be falling a little bit. We don't know. I saw a mock draft. Drake London went ahead of him. So I think if Jameson Williams gets to the teens, all bets are off for Steve Keim. I think if he goes top 10, no chance. I think that best case scenario, this team ends up with Jameson Williams out of the first round. Then Jermaine Johnson, 2 different mocks this morning. Peter King, I believe Daniel Jeremiah, both Jermaine Johnson to the Cardinals at pick 23. I think it's their preference to fill edge rusher early in this draft. This is a perfect fit. This is the fit, but I'm hearing this afternoon, he's top 10. So maybe that's not realistic. Jordan Davis, you can't convince me that a defensive tackle, the top D tackle, is not going to go before 23, but I know they love him. He's actually 6'6". He's a monster of a man.
And he ran a 4.7 at the combine at 340 pounds.
Devontae White, his running mate, might be the better pro, but they've got significant concerns with his off the field issues. Jordan Davis, if he's close, like here's the thing about these first three gentlemen: Jamison Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Jordan Davis are all trade up targets. Maybe not next year's first, but like kicking in a third, kicking in a future pick. Those are the three I could 100% see the Cardinals trading up for.
Johnny, I agree. Yeah, you got to get into the
go ahead.
11 to 15 to get those top three guys for sure. And if this were a spades game, I'm going with 3 with a 2 possible for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I don't think any Cardinal fan, especially somebody like Jamison Williams, would have issues with trading up for a premier player like those three. And then you've got the 2 at the bottom, which are basically, I could say safety blankets, but then I see them both going in the teens in mocks today. Trent McDuffie, cornerback, Washington, can play inside and outside. Where have we heard that before? Incredibly physical, not great ball skills. People think, NFL.com's got to write up about him today. Thinks that he's going to be a Pro Bowler within the first 2 years. The Cardinals love that Washington program, and they're batting almost 1,000 there. You go with what you know. And Byron Murphy, who will be our special guest at the Aids with on Thursday, is a free agent. They like Trent McDuffie. Jahan Dotson, let's wrap it up here. Played predominantly outside at Penn State. There was a little graphic, gentlemen, I'm sure you guys saw it over the weekend on Twitter. Somebody for Pro Football Focus logged all of the snaps from these top receivers. And, as much as we love Treylon Burks, he played most of his snaps in the slot. Jahan Dotson is an outside receiver. Now, does he have the physical traits, the measurables that you want compared to somebody like Burks Bo? Not necessarily, but they love how refined his pass catching ability is, his route running. He's somebody I could see immediately come in, give you 600-700 yards as a rookie. Those are right now. If you had to ask me, John, who are they taking? Those are the big 5 I would look at. And you guys throw your apples and oranges
absolutely.
at me.
I mean, if I had my ultimate pick, I think Jermaine Johnson's the guy. I think that he's the guy that makes this team better immediately. What he brings to the table. He played rotationally at Georgia. He was a stud at Florida State last year, 12 sacks. He's got the size, the athleticism. He's got the functional strength. He's got a tremendous football IQ. I mean, everything you want from a pass rusher, a guy that could immediately come in and rack up and get to the quarterback, something that Chandler Jones did. It may be at the same clip as far as sacks go. I mean, as far as on a down-by-down, snap-by-snap basis, it'd be tough to match Chandler Jones. But, I think that's the pick right there. If you can be aggressive, if he's still on the board, Damien, in the teens, Steve Keim said his pre-draft, they're willing to move up, 4 or 5 spots. That could be ballpark for a guy like Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, it's what's the value going to be? And you definitely need a guy like Jermaine Johnson and what he's able to do. You talk about the productivity, his ability, position versatility, his ability to go 3-4 outside linebacker, be able to drop in coverage, which we saw him do at Georgia before he transferred. And at Florida State, his ability to just stop the run, get to the pass. Athletic guy, has great bend and explosiveness, and he has a plethora of moves. I think he fits perfectly for what the Cardinals need at that position. Obviously, as you mentioned, Bo, Chandler Jones lost at 25% of their sack total. So how are you going to replace that? Is it going to be by committee, but you still need to get about 10, to I'd say about 12 to 13 sacks in terms of productivity for that spot. So I love it. I love the pick, but I also see where Johnny's coming from with Jamison Williams, because when you have a guy that explosive that can play inside, outside, has the ability to stretch the field, but also has that ability to make something happen. He's always explosive. Those are certain things that you can't coach. You're going to get developmental guys maybe early on, later on in the pick, but I think the Cardinals that are at a point with this team where they're 1 or 2 players away from doing major things, right? So we saw last year the productivity. We saw their ability to move the ball, get downfield, the combination of all the things. But I think having a guy like Jamison Williams on that offense only makes him better.
For those of you who don't know, so career routes run by alignment. Jahan Dotson over 1,100 yards playing outside, only 225 from the slot. Compare that to Treylon Burks, only played about 150 snaps outside. Majority, almost 700 snaps, came from inside the slot. You couple that with concerns about, his top-end speed, which, if you're a fan of this podcast, we don't mind. But if you're putting yourselves in the shoe, this week's all about projecting, right? We've given you 6 to 8 weeks of our opinion let's just talk brass tacks. Like, what do we think is going to happen? I don't see this team, at least today, I hope I'm wrong, drafting Treylon Burks on Thursday night. Right now, if you had to ask me, even if somebody like Dotson and Burks are there side by side, I think their preference is somebody who's played outside, who's a little bit more polished, right? He's undersized, but they don't have a problem, clearly, Bo Brock, drafting undersized guys. Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk. Like, until they prioritize size, and we're going to talk about the skilled group, and maybe it needs a little bit of a makeover here in segment 2. Drake London played inside. These smaller guys are the outside receivers in this draft. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not going to get turned off by. I know everybody's talking about the stigma surrounding this organization and their GM and his, affinity for guys under 6 feet. It's been his thing. We talked about his his little fetish. He likes undersized, small schools, wide receivers. But look, this is a guy. He's coming from the football equivalent of a blue blood. It's Penn State. He's a guy that's been productive a ton. Jahan Dotson. I'm kind of curious though. When you look at it, as far as where is he going to play next year? Where's he going to start in this? Yeah. They brought back AJ Green. He's going to be playing the Z. You've got DeAndre Hopkins coming back playing the X. And you're losing guys as far as snaps. A guy that played the slot in Christian Kirk. So. I don't know. I'm not going to get hung up on where the guys took snaps in college. I mean, the same thing goes for Burks. I think if they can play, they can play. I would rather go with the guy that's 6'3" over the guy that's 5'11". But look, if either one of them are there, it's good news for the Arizona Cardinals. When I look at your top 5, it's like you see Jameson, we mentioned, you see Jermaine Johnson. It's like you're going to have to go get those guys. And then the back end, Jordan Davis probably is the same. He's projected around 14.5. And then the other 2 guys are guys that are very likely going to be there if you stick and pick at 23.
And I think they're okay picks, guys. I mean, I think that what the Cardinals want to do offensively, early on in the season last year, none of us were having this conversation when they were undefeated. Everyone was like, the Cardinals offense is the best thing that we've ever seen. So let's pump our brakes there and realize that they were able to do it with adequate height guys, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore, as well as, DeAndre Hopkins. So with that being said, if you get a guy like Dotson that can mix it in as well as Burks, those are guys that Cliff Kingsbury should be at his best, being able to move them around, creating space for them, dictating coverage, and finding ways to get them the football. Those are both guys that we've seen are athletes when the ball's in the air. They make plays happen, and they play tough and physical. Yes, one's 6'2", almost 6'3", 200 and something pounds, but the other one can fly, and he's played against he's had some of his biggest games against the best competition in a guy like Dotson. So that's why I like him. I mean, I like the pick, and it's safe at 23. But you're going to have, if you move up, you have to move up to get those first 3 guys. Period, point blank. And if at 23, if we land with Burks, Dotson, or Karlaftis, I'm going to throw him out there. I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
You mentioned safe, and I think you're right. Blue chippers you trade up for. Blue chippers that are plug and play. Jameson Williams is playing right away once he's healthy. You're starting Jordan Davis from day one with J.J. Watt, and I think with Jermaine Johnson, he starts over Devon Kennard. Vance Joseph withstanding, Bo. But I think the one name on that list that I know there's going to be pushback, maybe not because of the player, but because of the position, is Trent McDuffie. And I just, that is basically saying that this pick is not going to be a factor as a rookie. I read that as an early round corner this year, and people may disagree with me. That's fine, because I still expect them. Now you've got a group of 4. You could still add another corner in free agency. I don't see Trent McDuffie on this team outplaying Marco Wilson, who's got a full year as a starter, who I think measurables are very, comparable, if not better. Yeah. And then Byron Murphy in a contract year, you're going to get his best effort. And then Jeff Gladney, who's got a second lease on his professional career. Just that, to me, for a team that's going to compete for the playoffs next year, would be a wasted pick. It's nothing to speak ill will on the player itself. I would probably feel the same with like a Sauce Gardner if he was there. I don't see the value for this team.
It's depth, Johnny. It's depth. I mean, in a game that goes 3 to 5 wide, you need defensive backs that can cover. Yeah, but that all starts up front. We continuously talk about this, the debate between a defensive back versus an edge rusher. but you need depth there. So if the value is there and you got a guy that's proven track record, you have history with the program of guys that have come and made nothing but plays for you. You know what I mean? It's like almost like a can't miss Washington player. Yep, we're going to get him. We know that he's going to go out there and perform. I think that when they drafted Budda Baker as well as Byron Murphy, you didn't think that they were going to be the impact player that they were. But here we are. Here we are. If they're two stalwarts on that defense, that defensive unit.
Rafa in the chat, though, you don't use first round on depth. This franchise does. This franchise once upon a time took DJ Humphries and redshirted him. This franchise took Hassan Reddick when they had Marcus Golden and Chandler Jones. I don't like the mindset. I want somebody that's going to play right away.
They didn't take Hassan with the intention of playing him at pass rush.
But you have the expectation that they're going to compete. I don't think it's like, hey, we're going to get this guy. He's going to sit him on the bench. Hey, it's great value. It's like Bitcoin. I'm just going to let him, get him here and sit and let him mature over a period of time. No, that's not it. What you do is going to get a guy that you want him to go out there and compete. And if he doesn't help you immediately on the football field, you're going to try and get him in third down situations or in special teams. Like that's the game.
And it's not just chasing the Rams either. I mean, we know when you look at the Rams depth chart and you see how deep they go at wide receiver, even without Odell Beckham Jr. in there, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got now Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson, all just threats in the passing game, plus Tyler Higbee. Like, you need to have enough guys to cover them. And then also you've got the AFC West coming in. You're facing the AFC West and that murderer's row this year as well. You got to have cover guys. I'm not completely just turned off by this pick. It's not, I don't think it's as big of an impact, but look, at the end of the year, the Arizona Cardinals were short on corners. This would put them in a pretty good position where they have 4 guys that you can really kind of just say, okay, they can compete every week.
Yeah, Jalen in the chat says you never have too many corners. Someone is bound to get injured. That's true. This defense went from giving up 16 points per game to 30 once Wilson and Alford went out. I would just re-sign Robert Alford. But I get it. Again, it's not my preference. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just not what I want. So give me what I want, damn it. And that's a first-round receiver. But, Damien, you made a great – this draft is not a star-studded draft. We could be looking back at this draft. This could be like the 2013 draft where you're not trying to hit a home run. You're just trying to hit some doubles, right?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. At a first-round draft pick.
This year, though, I feel like it's this draft. You've heard kind of rumblings, it doesn't have the star power last year. We don't have the quarterbacks pushing a bunch of premium talent down. We're going to have to really rely on Steve Keim and his scouting prowess and his moxie to come through, which – I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. I think that if they can just find a player that is of quality and not an outright miss, listen, I could be pounding the table for a receiver 23 and they could reach on one, and it could be a disaster. It could be N'Keal Harry 2.0. And Trent McDuffie goes a couple picks later and he's just quietly just a 7 to 10 year quality player. So I'm open to suggestion that I could be wrong. It's just, give us what I want.
That's why he's Johnny Vulnerable today.
I'm feeling very vulnerable.
It's that Stockholm syndrome we got too. We're just like, I just want a single in the first round. I just want a little seeing eye single to sneak through, and we'll just play it safe, Steve. When this team is right, that's embarrassing because this team is on the cusp. They're right there. They know that. That's why they retain the guys that they brought back.
Which way are we going to teeter though? Yeah. Is
exactly
the real question. Berghain Travel Club, let's get to it. We're halfway to capacity for our draft party this Thursday at the Ainsworth. Well, let's talk about it, gentlemen. This Thursday, live, 4 p.m. at the Ainsworth in downtown Phoenix, our draft party with Berghain Travel Club, PHNX Cardinals, live at the Ainsworth. We are going to have wall-to-wall coverage of the NFL draft, the first round, again, beginning at 4 p.m. with special guests. Speaking of a cornerback from the University of Washington, CB1 for the Arizona Cardinals, Byron Murphy will be in the house, signing autographs, taking pictures for the first 50 folks that come in. Be there. I've already been asked, what time can we get in? Party starts at 4 p.m. And to Berghain Travel's point in the chat, we already at half capacity. We have ranked it up. We've contacted the Ainsworth. Let more people in, because you guys are busting down the door. We love it. We love the enthusiasm. Come celebrate with us. Damien Anderson, Frank Sanders, Marshall Shipp, Sean Phillips, Deuce Latui, then Bo Brock and I will be there hanging out, bumming around, right? We're going to give you wall-to-wall coverage of the NFL draft, not only this Thursday via the Ainsworth, Friday, Saturday as well. Lock it in to PHNX. Go PHNX.com. I'm so excited, gentlemen. I just feel like we've been talking about the Ainsworth and this draft special for 2 months, and now it's finally here.
We've been talking about it for a while, and there's a bet going on, the over-under on you chugging a beer. So there's a lot
making
happening.
That bad.
There's a lot happening. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of important people with leather-bound books will be there. You know what I mean?
There will be no reading if I have anything to do with it. No one's reading anything. You can RSVP in the chat right now.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, I just think to get out in the city, to enjoy, just to have the ability to connect with fans. Obviously, you guys are going to be there alongside some former players and as well as current Arizona Cardinal Byron Murphy. So I just think that it's just going to be a great environment to just show your fanfare, connect with some fans, and talk a little shit on what the Cardinals are going to do first and second round. Really, at the end of the day.
Now, you and Marcel, you guys were in the same running back room at one point, correct?
We were, yeah. Marcel was an OG, man. He was he made the team as an undrafted free agent as well. So when he came out, I mean, he was like a big brother to me. So we kind of went through it, together. And before Emmett came, it was kind of the Damien and Marcel show. And we had a great time, man. Like, I know the wins didn't dictate it, but I mean, Marcel could play. He was truly a stud. I mean, you talk about everything that you want in a running back. He was it. Tough. I mean, what stood out to me mostly, and I know it's, we talk about guys coming in and making an impact, was his ability to cover a kick and run down the football field and just be untouched and just use that vision. And he could play the game, at running back at a high level too. So good friend of mine.
If I can harness that same intensity when I chug my beer at the end of the night on Friday.
End of the night. I thought it was at the beginning of the night.
No, I have to do a show. I'm a professional first and foremost. Sean in the chat says when I chug my beer, I wear a bib. No harm, no foul, brother. We need to see Johnny. I'm gonna chug a beer at the end of the show. It's in the rundown. We're gonna do it. Here's the full list via Burgain Travel Club of who's gonna be there: Frank Sanders, Damien Anderson, Marcel Shipp, Deuce Latouille, Marte Jenkins, Patrick Hunter, Patrick Cunningham, Jerome Daniels, Britton Golden, and more. Holy shit.
Goodness.
What a guest list. Come out and party with us. And we're all going to will this pick 23 into existence. And speaking of pick 23, come Thursday, you can gamble on the NFL draft. I'm not sure if you gentlemen knew this via the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you want to take a night betting on the Suns, take a night off, right? I bet a sizable amount of money on the Suns money line yesterday. Didn't go well. So we can take a night off, and you can bet exclusively on the NFL draft via the DraftKings Sportsbook app, or you can bet on other NBA playoff games, whatever you want to do. It's next level. Get the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, an official sports betting partner of the NBA and the NFL. And this week, new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on the first round via same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for an even bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, place the same game parlay each day with 3 or more legs and get up to $25 back if one leg doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round. You get $150 in free bets. It's promo code PHNX at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. You got to be 21 and up. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customer only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details, Mr. Bo Brock.
Yeah, I love it in the chat. Book it saying Game 6 as well. That's a lock to happen now Thursday night as well. You've got the Suns on TV. It's going to be in the Big Easy. So only place to see it is the Ainsworth in town. I mean, it's just going to be an electric atmosphere as long as it's not a little repeat of last night. Also, let me tell you, children 5 and older eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is the best tool we have to reduce the chances of getting sick. Vaccine can reduce the risk of being hospitalized or dying from the disease. Safe, free, highly effective vaccines are available throughout Arizona. Visit azhealth.gov/find vaccine for a location near you. So we're talking all this draft talk. We've got we looked at a lot of some defensive players once again. Like, we got caught up in it. And Johnny, you put this list out there as far as oldest offensive skill positions in the league. If you look at the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, we're wheeling their skill positions out into the sun. basically every day. Like they're at nursing home status. When you look at him, James Conner, what is he, 26? You've got AJ Green. He's going to be 34 this year. DeAndre Hopkins. He's not a young buck anymore, 29 years old. Zach Ertz, he's 31, going to be 32. Not young at that position. So when we're talking all this draft, a nice 21, 22-year-old skill position on a 4 to 5 year contract, it's pretty appealing to me, Damien.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that your team, your receivers are a little bit long in the tooth, you know what I mean? I think it comes down to availability. What value is there at that 23rd pick if they stay there, or if they move up to get a guy like Johnny Loves, a Jameson, Williams? I mean, I think if you move up and you get a guy like that, it makes all the sense in the world, and no one's going to question whatever you say. That being said, I think it still needs to be addressed. I mean, with this draft being having a lot of depth at wide receiver, without the exception of like the first, 6 guys that are elite. And then after that, it's like, oh, everyone throw the next, 10 or 15 guys in a bunch, right? In terms of what you want in that ideal player. I think it comes down to, you have to address it. But I think, like Steve said in his press conference, I think they're going to go edge. I think it's something on their mind, but I think they're going to go edge first. And I can see it happen in the second round.
I have legitimate concerns about this skilled group. Old and slow come to mind. Now, here's what I will say. Zach Ertz, you have been so putrid at that position for so long. Like, tight ends age well in this league, right? We saw didn't play till he was like flipping 100 years old. So Zach Ertz is here to be a red zone target, intermediate passing game, down the seam. He looked fantastic last year. I don't have issues at all with Zach Ertz, mainly because like that position is so hard to draft. Not only for the Cardinals, but other ones. Like, that's fine. Put that over in its own little category. James Conner was a Pro Bowler last year. I don't like drafting backs high anyway. So maybe you hit on a day 3 pick. He becomes the successor 2 years down the road. You're not paying him a ton of money. And then it's receiver. As Ice Wallow comes, says he doesn't. Peter Schrager mentions that he doesn't see the Cardinals going defense. I hope that's true. Peter Schrager has Ice Wallow.
Got him.
You got me.
Got him.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Everybody needs to keep it together so I can get through this train of thought. The Cardinals re-signed AJ Green for $3 million. I don't understand what the rationale was to take vital snaps away from a rookie if they take one. Rondale Moore is the youth in that group. DeAndre Hopkins is what he is. He's almost 30 years old. You're paying him a premium. He better be elite or this team's not going anywhere. That rest of that group, you have an opportunity to reshape it in this draft, right? And I just go back to the fact that AJ Green last year, at the end of the year, did not look like he could play. He couldn't separate at all. Kyler Murray, we have another stat, was only second to Aaron Rodgers in his receivers not separating. Now, I think Hopkins has something to do with it, him being out. Rondale Moore's route tree was complete and utter garbage. But Christian Kirk, I think, was probably due time for him to have a new change of scenery. AJ Green taking vital snaps away from Treylon Burks or Jameson Williams, God forbid, or Johan Dotson. Like, I'm not interested in seeing that. So that's what makes me think, like, even at $3 million, Damien, to your point, like, I think they are prioritizing edge rusher. I think they feel like they're in good shape with their skill players. And it goes back to, like, yeah, we're a first half team. We look great in September and October. What happens at the end of the year? Old guys fall apart. Everybody was injured. Everybody was beat up.
Johnny, great point. But those aren't. It hasn't been guys that are. It's been a mix, right? It's been DeAndre Hopkins. It's been Kyler Murray. It's been Big JJ. It hasn't just been one guy. It hasn't been all the older guys. And with that core of speed or skill guys, the only one that I have a question mark is AJ Green. That would be the only guy that I would be like, oh yeah, well, you probably need to start thinking about a replacement for him. At the end of the day, moving forward, year 1 or year 2, because, being on 1-year deals, you need a guy to come in and play that, Z receiver. So I could see them going. I mean, that's almost, where I could see them, going first round. I just don't see the value there at 23 of a guy that they're going to get that's going to be an impact player. I feel like they have to move up to get a guy like Jameson, Williams, or one of those top 3 receivers. And if that's a number 1 priority, they have to move up to do that. You're not getting that at 23. You're getting an adequate, solid guy that could come in.
I mean, Justin Jefferson once upon a time went in the 20s, though.
Fair enough. I mean, but are you getting a Christian Kirk at 23? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Are you
I
getting
think
900
Jahan
yards
Dotson
of
projects
receiving?
very well to what you got from
No,
Kirk in the short term
Did you have you
with a
seen
higher
Kirk?
ceiling.
How?
I watched him for 4 years hit a wall at the end of the year. That's what I watched.
I mean, Christian Kirk. I think he's a dog. I like Christian Kirk a lot. I mean, I think that he's been a great athlete. I'd say that he hasn't been used correctly, but he's done everything asked of him
That's
and
fair.
done it well. You know what I mean? Like he's not been DeAndre Hopkins. He hasn't been targeted as DeAndre Hopkins. But in that position, you need to get a guy that can come in and replace him. And you hope
That's
that
fair.
Rondell Moore, has a productive year as well. I think that they're two different players. I think Rondell is more of a special guy. Literally in the sense, specialty, like situational, third down, some trick plays, punt return, kick return. And he has to show me more, not me, but he has to show me more in terms of developing as a receiver.
Let's get Mr. Wallow off the we're just gonna put Ice Wallow up there time after time. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Call him IWC.
Get your mind right, Ice Wallow. Let's
Just
go.
call him IWC. Just call him IWC. Come on,
IWC. I like it.
This show, I was so locked into what I was saying.
Man.
And then if
Bro.
had you guys not pointed it out, I would have just kept going.
You straight Ron Burgundy that
You
right
did.
there. Love it.
I did. I'm a
I love
professional, damn it. Sean's saying Dotson's a better player because he is. He's a better player than
Look,
Christian.
all the youth is on this defense. All of it. I mean, the last 2 years, your two linebackers, you've got Zaven and you've got Isaiah Simmons. They're in their early 20s. You've got.
I guess JJ doesn't cut the average bow. I guess he doesn't just throw it up there.
Sure, I mean he's
he was
way up
supposed
there.
to be the glue
Wait,
guy.
Look,
Kennard,
you got Buda Baker at 26.
Kennard,
He looks like
Don't
an
talk to
elder
me about
statesman.
Devon Kennard.
But
Kennard, you got Golden. I mean, those guys aren't young either. Those
But
guys
as far
been
as,
playing
like,
for a minute.
I mean, Jalen Thompson's 23. We got to get that guy locked up, by the way. You've got a lot of youth on that defense, and it also shows how well they've kind of done on that side of the football in drafting, but also you on the offensive side, when you miss on a couple second-round picks at wide receiver, it just kind of goes to show that you have to draft better. Steve Keim has to draft the offensive side of the football better going forward. You're not going to have this crutch of Kyler Murray, as it's shown, like that's going to take you all the way through the season. Like he can elevate you on certain days, but you can't just create that crutch. You got to give him some help at some point. And I think, if the cards don't fall or the dominoes don't fall right at 23 and the best pick as a defensive player, do that. But you're going to have to get younger on that side of the football. It's in the second and the third round. You get at 55 and 87.
You talked about help. I mean, they need to help that offensive line. So what if there is no movement and they go O-line? It's not the prettiest thing, but it makes sense. You got to protect Kyler Murray, especially given his health concerns and longevity of playing a full season without getting nicked up, because we know that when they stumble, it's been either JJ or Kyler. So if they go offensive line, does it become two beers, Johnny? Does it become, because you're just having that type of night where you're just like,
no,
fuck it.
I swallow 2 beers.
That's the only thing I'm swallowing on this show.
Pause.
I'm going to tell you definitively, I would champion taking an offensive lineman, guard or otherwise, over a corner. Because again, what's the theme? What the theme of this draft should be: an investment in offense is an investment in Kyler Murray. And first of all,
Can we get a graphic for that? Can we get a graphic?
Or a T-shirt maybe? Can we get our T-shirt people? PHNX Merchandise Locker, PHNXLocker.com to take care of that. Receiver's my preference, you know that. I think edge rusher is where their heart is. I think guard makes more sense than cornerback because, number one, I think the value's better. And I'm just not high on the cornerback position in the NFL anymore. I just don't think it's as valued as it was once upon a time. And so here's what you have to ask yourself. Steve Keim's never taken a first-round corner. Does he do it this year? His one and only high draft pick at guard was his first ever draft pick in Jonathan Cooper, and it blew up in his face. Does he have scar tissue? Does he have damage from that pick to make him never want to go back to that? Because he's seen this Cardinal team make postseason runs, win division titles, make the playoffs with free agent marginal additions, right? And spending big once in a while on a Justin Pugh or Mike Iupati. Something tells me that he believes that position is interchangeable. And you go get a mid-rounder, you go sign a guy in free agency. Guards are always available. As much as I would want to champion a Zion Johnson over a Trent McDuffie, I just don't. Keim has to show me that he would be willing to do that first.
Johnny, tell that to Kyler Murray, because he's going to be like,
I
want
know,
the best
don't make me get the
offensive
Funko Pop
lineman
out.
I want the best offensive lineman available. You only get the discount when you have to. You know what I'm saying? When you could buy the name brand, you're going to get the name brand. So that's what you want when you're with the expectation of paying this guy Kyler Murray and protecting him for the next, I'd probably say 5 to 7 years, right? Maybe even 10 years. You want to have a profound, anchors up front, guys that, maybe aren't necessarily interchangeable, but everybody else wants. And I think that can you get them at 23 this year? I think you can. It won't be the most sexiest pick, but I think that Cardinals fans will understand.
I feel like Cardinal fans, Bo, would be more pro guard than corner.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But at the same time, it's like you're getting the guard, you're not getting the tackle. And you got DJ Humphries potentially walking out the door after this year. It's like, what's the value there? I mean, you just got a guy that's gonna be in the interior offensive line. Like, should you look at tackle?
Protect your investment at quarterback?
Right. I mean, but if we're looking at immediate impact makers, it's probably guard, because it's Will Hernandez or bust right now at that position.
It's not a great place to be. I mean, I like Will, but it's a pet project, the offensive line coach. And we've talked about it before on other shows. Like, he didn't get the red carpet treatment with the signing video from Michael Bidwell. Like, that position, in my opinion, still vacant. Like, it's going to be one in camp. I think Zion Johnson would come into this organization and win that job. I think he's a better player right now. If we look to the big board as it relates to some tackles that could be options, gentlemen, for the Arizona Cardinals, if they were to look at that position, you're thinking maybe a Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. I know a lot of people feel like he tests off the charts, but has maybe day 2 tape. Ramman, the kid from Central Michigan, Bernhard. A lot of people are high on him. He's more of a fringe first rounder. And then it's kind of a little bit of a drop off. You've got Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, the kid out of Washington State, Abraham Lucas. There's not that definitive, 4th or 5th tackle where you can really pound the drum to, outside if you want to lump in Trevor Penning. So to me, value might not be equal. Give me the number 1 guard over the number 5th tackle.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that for sure.
Yeah. Any guys that you
consensus? We finally have a consensus, and it's on a guard. On a
like
guard. Johnny's like, oh my God. You get us to agree on a guard, Johnny.
We did it.
I mean, Charles Cross out of Mississippi State, he's a baller. I mean, I like him at tackle, but it's a pretty thin position as far as once you get to where the Arizona Cardinals are. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be interesting to see, if we're gonna need therapy after this first round, or if people are gonna be excited by who Keim ends up selecting.
I think most people, unless it's a wideout, will have grief with it no matter the pick. If they take a defender, no more defenders.
They get Jermaine Johnson. People aren't going to be upset. They get Jermaine Johnson.
I floated that today. It's another. I mean, he's an edge rusher, but he's also a linebacker. It would mark technically your 3rd straight linebacker in the first round. Like, you've got that 3-4 core. It's another one for that group. But I agree with you. I think he or Jameson, if either one of those are on the board, like, those 2 positions, edge rusher, receiver, and quarterback, are really kind of the big 3 right now in the NFL. And so, like, you get one of those, as Bo mentioned, on a 5-year rookie deal, and you're not paying him shit. And this is a guy who dominated the ACC, who like, he's the anti-Karl Afkes. His tape is, I'm sacking the quarterback every game. I'm making people uncomfortable. I know how to get after people. Whereas Karl Afkes is like projections, this, that, and the other. Well, he didn't tape at Purdue, but at the next level, he's going to take care. I watched Jamison Williams and Jermaine Johnson, and I know baller, blue chipper, right? It just sucks because none of these guys are going to be available at 23. You got to go up and get them.
Yeah, you got to go up and get them. And what does that cost, Johnny? I mean, I know that you and Bo are great at breaking down the value and understanding what it's going to be to trade up. What does that cost? Because you got to get in the, I'd say 10 to 15 to get a Jamison Williams. And even I would agree with that with Jermaine Johnson as well. Like, you have to be up and maybe even a little bit higher with what we're hearing about Jamison Williams.
I feel like this draft, the more I've looked at it, boy, I'm anxious to hear your opinion on this, because it's not a star-studded draft. And I think you could get away with a 2 and maybe a future 3. Whereas if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said to go from 23 to like 13, you would have had to give up a 1. I think you could get away with giving up 55 and a third next year, and you could go up and get a Jameson. And I think a lot of people would be more than fine with that.
You do
What
it?
did they? What was the Cardinals when they moved up to get Rosen?
Only a third and a fifth because the Raiders and John Gruden gifted them that.
Oh, well. So it can't happen. It's possible.
Like, the thing about the draft chart is it's dependent on the draft itself. Somebody may be dying to trade down because they don't like any of these options, right? And they want to recoup and they're in a rebuild. Like, does Houston at 13, like, they might want to add some more assets. Their team's awful, right? So this is also not last year's draft where Devontae Smith and Micah Parsons are hanging around outside the top 10. This is a meat and potatoes draft that doesn't have the influx of high-end talent, homegrown talent where even my wife knows the players in this draft. This is a different kind of draft, right? And so there might be a team that's like, yeah, I like Jermaine Johnson. I like Jameson Williams. But I don't love him. I would love pick 55. I would love a third round next year because we're not winning shit this year. That's, Bo, where I think the Cardinals could take advantage.
Yeah, sure. Aggressively move up the draft board, and you've got some teams that have multiple picks. You've got the Jets, you've got the Giants, you've got Philly, who have what, 3 between 10 and 20, right? I mean,
yeah,
they'd be willing to maybe flip that and turn it. If it's 55, you can bet that Howie Roseman's taking that phone call. Absolutely. And really considering it. And then as you mentioned, with the guys leaving, Kirk and Chandler Jones potentially give you an influx of 2023 third round picks. I mean, that the Arizona Cardinals, they have a couple aces up their sleeve, their ability to move up and not really kind of break the bank. That would be huge for this organization that's had a brutally slow offseason. Like, it'd be like trading the giant sheepdog van for the moped and Dumb and Dumber and completely redeem himself potentially with a pick like Jameson Williams or Jermaine Johnson. Now, let me ask you guys this. If they do trade back in, if the little chime comes on ESPN and there's a trade and the Arizona Cardinals move up, who's it more likely for? Is it for the edge or is it for the wide receiver, Jameson Williams?
I think it's two different, very similar things, but two different areas, right? You got to go top 10, I believe, to get Jameson Williams. You got to go top 15 to get Johnson. And the reason is I think that Jameson is a premium talent. I think that Johnson will be, right? I think under the right coaching, the right tutelage, I think that he can become a premium talent. Dominated at the Senior Bowl, has great explosive bend, length, everything. But Jameson Williams is a guy that we've seen in the SEC be able to do it on every facet of the football field. A guy that can come in, take reps for DeAndre Hopkins. If DeAndre Hopkins goes down, your offense just doesn't shit the bed, and you have an ability for a guy that you could throw in there and that's going to be, adequately or equally explosive as DeAndre Hopkins. And he can replace AJ Green. He could come in and play slot as well. When you have the position versatility and you add the explosiveness to it to take it to the house on any given point of the game, that's you got to be brave. History favors the brave.
This organization, they have not been aggressive in the draft outside of the Rosen deal because I think they felt like they had to. Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury have a renewed sense of security. The quarterback might not yet, but they got new deals. What comes with new deals, right? You feel like you can maybe roll the dice a little bit more than otherwise you have maybe in the past. I think that Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury can go to Michael Bidwell like, hey, this is a building block in Jameson Williams that we can leverage. This is a long-term play. You invested in us for the next 5 years with these extensions. This is a guy who's going to play a big part in our success. This is not, we need a Hassan Reddick this year because we're trying to win a Super Bowl and then Bruce Arians dips out. This is the anti that pick. This is, we're going to take him slow in September. He's going to be kicking ass in December as we're trying to make the playoffs, the stretch run of the season. He's going to be somebody who is the heir apparent to DeAndre Hopkins in 2 or 3 years, who's signing one of these huge mega contracts because he's making Pro Bowls. This is the kind of move where if you're Steve Keim and you're Cliff Kingsbury, you have the leverage to pull off probably now better than you ever have before because it's a long-term play. That's how I look at it.
I mean, it's a long-term play that can almost have immediate impact. I mean, we know that he's going to miss maybe like the first quarter of the season, that being Jameson Williams due to the knee injury and coming off of that. But either one of these guys, I really feel are long-term plays, Johnson and Williams. I think that either one of those guys that you get come into this organization and be stalwarts for the next, 5 to 7 to 10 years are going to sign, like you said, those mega deals. When you see the explosiveness by both of these guys, their characteristics, and they have the traits of the guys that do it on Sundays and do it at a high level.
We've got some incredible content right now on the site. Go PHNX.com. Damien Anderson breaking down one of the running backs that you should be pretty familiar with. Of course, played his college ball at Arizona State in Tempe. Rachaad White. You can get more insight on White, a guy that Damien worked out with this as he prepared for the draft. And we've got a great breakdown video on our website right now, gophnx.com. And we've got a couple more videos, including Jameson Williams. When are we going to drop that video, Johnny? Tomorrow or Wednesday?
I'm gonna drop it tonight. Whatever. I think we're gonna drop 2 every day in preparation for Thursday. Why not drop a little Jameson Williams action tonight at gophnx.com?
Love it.
I think it's very appropriate.
I mean, that's just a clutch move by our furious leader. Even though it's Johnny vulnerable all the way through this week.
I'm drinking that clutch juice when I'm not drinking other things, apparently, on this show.
You're hanging out with Ice Swallow.
That's right.
Let's talk about something better than that. Let's talk about our new partner, OG's. OG's Brands has joined the PHNX family. OG's is Arizona's first original scratch-made cannabis kitchen and dedicated to creating an innovative, memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. The quality of the products, that's where it's at. It's combinations of accurate dosing and amazing flavor. Edibles are not just a one-size-fits-all product, which is why OG's is proud to offer a wide range of products for all demographics and preferences. And their motto, can't get better than this, just flavoring life. And it's something we can all get behind. Let's get tropical. They've got tropical fruit flavors like guava, strawberry, kiwi, raspberry, orange, pina colada. Their orange creamsicle gummies taste like a damn dream. You want to get yourself some OGs. You want to, OGs seeking to focus on life's opportune moments. Consume their product. Learn more. Go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com.
So much goodness on the way this week at the Ainsworth here in 3 days. For those just joining us, the party of the year, the PHNX party, really.
What are you most excited about, Johnny? Bo, what are you guys most? I'm just meet you guys in person. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah,
for me and you, Johnny B. Bo, meet you in person.
I would say as much as I want to see you guys, I'm more into like all the free drinks and the specials, and that kind of thing. Here, low key,
Are you gonna be on?
Yeah, I'm in the suite number 69. I'll be low key with you guys. Every time that we've had an event, I've went and covered the team, and I've been a good little soldier, good little Boy Scout, and I haven't partaken in any beverages when we've been out for pre-gaming, pre-tailing, that, what do you call it, tailgate and all that good stuff.
Pre-tailing.
Pre-tailing. I'll probably have a couple beverages in preparation for the end of the night beer chug that hopefully nobody will be witnessing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to letting it loose, ripping it.
We need shirts, Bo. Pre-tailing with Johnny V. We need that, bro.
Pre-tailing with the logo of him double fisting or double cupping a beer can. There it is.
Here you go, you assholes.
There's pre-tailing right there.
That's what pre-tailing looks like.
Just drinking and pre-tailing, and this show.
I can't
what are you
wait.
Excited for, Mr. Bo Brock?
We're finally going to start to see these players go off the board, but we're just going to have an absolute just blast. It's going to be an electric atmosphere at the Ainsworth, downtown Phoenix. Game 6 is going to be on one of the screens, I'm sure, and just talking some ball with all you guys and everybody that comes. Can't wait to catch up with every single person that walks through the door.
Tomorrow, PHNX Cardinals Live, this group of fine people. Damien, are you free tomorrow by chance? Can you hop on with us?
I think I can.
Oh my goodness, because we don't have a show on Wednesday because we're going to let Bo fly in with his sweet little babe into the valley so we can prepare for Thursday night. What do you say, gentlemen, tomorrow, 4 p.m. PHNX Cardinals Live, we do a complete first round mock draft, pick by pick by pick. We go through all 32 picks. We all get to kind of combobulate the Cardinals pick together when we get to pick 23. How's that sound?
I like it.
As soon as you debunk this from Anthony that you're a flat earther, is that true?
Well, Anthony Toltri of PHNX Sun Devils likes to push that narrative to drive ratings. It's like the SEO where it's like if we put Johnny's name in something, it drives traffic. So no, I'm not even going to comment on that.
I'm all in on a mock draft. Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
Good deal. Putting Damien on the spot here. Go PHNX.com. Right? Yeah, I mean, we talk about it. Have some fun with some trades. 50 cents for the first month. Go PHNX.com. $8.99 for the subsequent month. Or just become a member. Under $60, get a free t-shirt like this one, my Wildcats tee. I'm going to be rocking a PHNX Cardinals t-shirt on Thursday. I think we're going to have some gear probably available, maybe, Leah, for folks to partake in a little bit. We're going to be having the best time. Keep it locked in. Go PHNX.com the rest of this week. Your Arizona Cardinals Central, not those other sites. This is where you want to be for your unbiased, upfront Arizona Cardinal draft coverage. Make sure, like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review for Bo Brock at Bo Brock, Damien Anderson at Damien Anderson. I'm Johnny Venerable. We will see you mañana.